Listen to Philosophy Talk every Tuesday at noon on KSJE 90.9 FM, Farmington. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, a community-owned and operated hospital. Here for you when you need us. From emergency care to routine checkups and screenings, caregivers are here and ready to provide the safe, high-quality care you need close to home. Online at sanjuanregional.com with the latest health information and resources to help you live life better here. Is Monday morning, the 9th day of May, 2022. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM, of course, over the air here in San Juan County this morning. Streaming everywhere else at KSJE.com, and we also welcome our viewers who are watching this community-supported visual radio station. The video is streaming out live this morning to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. So we're glad that you are with us this morning, because coming up, we're going to be talking about the expansion of childcare services to San Juan College East in Aztec, what that means for the community of Aztec, students at Aztec's Vista Nueva High School, and much, much more. That conversation begins in the next few moments here on KSJE. Then later on this hour, we'll be checking in with Lewis Campbell from Synergy Computer Systems. He's here every Monday to talk with me about technology. You'll see that and hear that today at 8:50 a.m. on KSJE. Mick Hess will take us roving with the arts after the news at 9:06 a.m. This morning, Mick is featuring music from the composer you see on the screen. That is John Rudder with a Ukrainian Prayer. You'll be hearing that piece of music and more coming up today, roving with the arts at 9:06 on KSJE. And then, of course, we invite you to connect with us on our Instagram page, in addition to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. And if you're a podcast person, you can subscribe to KSJE Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, places like iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Google Podcasts and Pandora and Amazon Music. The list goes on and on. But search and subscribe for free and maybe discover a new program that you haven't heard before. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it is sunny, but windy out there, 59 degrees, and the winds are gusting about 9 miles per hour at the moment, but we've seen certainly stronger gusts than that. We're expecting another windy day today with a high of 77 this afternoon, maybe some wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour with some areas of blowing dust, so do be careful if you're on the roads. 49 and windy overnight tonight. Tomorrow, windy conditions again with a high of 82. It'll be clear and 49 Tuesday night. Windy again on Wednesday with a high of 83 degrees, and then a windy night on Wednesday with a low of 48 before things calm down but get a little cooler. 67 is the forecast high for Thursday with lots of sunshine, and 36 in clear skies for an overnight low on Thursday night. Well, let me introduce my guests who are here with me this morning, as I mentioned, to talk about child care in the Aztec area. Alexis Essenger is here. She is the Director of Teacher Education and Early Childhood Education here at San Juan College. Good morning. Welcome back to KSJE.
Hi, Scott. Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. Great to have you here. Fran Nakai is here. She is the Director of the Child and Family Development Center here at San Juan College. Good morning.
Good morning, Scott.
Welcome back to you as well.
Thank you.
Good to have you with us. And welcome back also to Dreher Robertson, who is the principal of Vista Nueva High School in Aztec. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you all for being here this morning to talk about this exciting new expansion, I guess I would say, of child care in the Aztec area. And so, Alexis, let me start with you a little bit. This is all due to a grant that was applied for and given out by the Kellogg Foundation to the college, right?
Right. The Kellogg grant, the Kellogg Foundation provided us with a seed grant to generously support the families of our kiddos in Aztec and our staff and some of our, stakeholders at the college. So we're so excited about it. It's such a great opportunity to take CFDC and everything that works really well there and move it out to Aztec and just really try to regionally support young families and parents and staff and little ones.
Right, very true. And so, Dreher Robertson, this is going to really help your students at Vista Nueva High School in Aztec, right? As some of them may need some childcare facilities.
Right, absolutely. Vista was founded as a school to support pregnant and parenting teens, and so over the last couple of years of COVID, the center has kind of not been utilized. And so when I came in this year with my dual roles as San Juan College East Director and as Principal of Vista Nueva, I saw this beautiful facility and thought, why not reach out to San Juan College and see if we can't put together a facility that's going to serve our students better than possibly any place in the county.
There you go. And that brings us to Fran Nakai, who is the director of the Child and Family Development Center here on the main campus. And so this just means kind of expanding what you're already doing here?
Yes, the program's going to be able to provide childcare for 10 families, so 6 toddlers and 4 infants. So we're just going to kind of, like Alexis said, mirror what we're doing at the CFDC out in Aztec.
Very good. And does that include kind of the same training and accreditation or standards and things like that we see here on the main campus?
Yes, we currently are applying for licensing through the New Mexico Early Childhood Education and Care Department, and then eventually, hopefully, apply for NACE accreditation. Got
you. And so, Alexis, this, again, the center is planning to open in August.
Right, in August. So currently we are in a place where we're hiring a director for that site, and so that's a group of folks who we're looking through candidates, and then we'll get someone in, and then the next step is to hire some teachers and substitutes who can help support the site every day throughout the the typical window of time that we would offer it for children. And then Dreher is going to supply us with another position who will help support kind of the logistics and operational piece.
Got you. And that talks a little bit about kind of the fit of this whole project with the existing infrastructure and staffing of San Juan College and San Juan College East and Vista Nueva and all these things that seem to kind of really fit very, very well. We were talking a bit about the facility, and it seemed like there didn't really have to be too many changes to the actual structure of the facility that you have there existing at Vista Nueva.
Right, it's kind of a lovely little zone right there in Vista Nueva and connected to the library and Boys and Girls Club, and it's all set up because it's run there as a child care facility for a while, but not in a couple years. So not since Dreher, and then since Fran and I, it's kind of been just a quiet space for them. But
right.
He's excited to have little ones there at his high school again.
I would think so, and easily able to be opened back up after a couple of months, right? And so, Dreher, talk to me a little bit. I left out your position of director of San Juan College East in your introduction, so my apologies.
No worries.
But again, in that dual role, that means that I would assume that you can facilitate kind of a lot of different things between Aztec schools and San Juan College and vice versa to be able to make this happen maybe a little easier than if it was two separate people.
Right. I live in this wonderful gray area of nobody always knows what both of my jobs are and what my roles are. And so I kind of pop up on people's schedule and they're like, who is this guy? What's happening? But it's great because I am there as the high school principal all day. And so working with San Juan College to open it means that Fran can be the supervisor for the staff there, but I can be on site to take care of any day-to-day emergencies and put out fires and do all the, not literal, but
right.
And that way it's feasible, right? And that way the director has a direct support line to me, and then if I don't have an answer, Fran's there to cover my back, right, Fran?
Yes.
There you go. Well, and again, it's important, and the dollars have to make sense, right? The dollars have to work, or I'm sure Kellogg would probably wonder about it and other things like that. So everything has to be in the right spot. So
absolutely,
that makes sense. Fran, talk to me a little bit about kind of the steps to take over the summer here as you get things ready for students to come back after a couple of years at this site in Aztec.
Well, we started the licensing process, so we applied for our zoning permit. We've already had the fire marshal visit, and now we're working on the environmental health portion. And then once we hire our director, we'll go ahead and apply for licensing and hopefully have that, I'd say, by the end of June is what we're thinking, and then have a person in place to go through, clean the building, get everything set up, bring in new materials, as Alexis said, and just get ready to open in the fall. And we'll have to hire and train a person to do a lot of the enrollment too. So.
Right. Very good. And you have room for 10, you were saying. 10,
Yes.
10 kids at the center. And so, Drew, let me ask you, too, a little bit about the location for folks maybe who aren't familiar, but they should be. Of course, Vista Nueva is right there in the same building. The Aztec Boys and Girls Club is right there. The Aztec Library is right there. I mean, it seems like you've got a lot of really nice things just adjacent, literally down the hall from where this new center will be.
Right. I took a visit out to our West Campus in Kirtland. I don't know, it's probably 2 months ago now. But I was kind of inspired by the level of community involvement they have at West Campus. It's really a community center, and having all those resources right together for me is pretty amazing. And so that's kind of the idea, is like, let's remind people that we're on the map, that we're here, and that we can serve lots of diverse populations. That's the idea.
Right. Very cool. And Alexis, let me ask you too a little bit about the idea for the kids. You've got kind of a level, I guess, of how kids will be accepted into the center. Primarily, they're there for the students at Vista Nueva. Is that kind of the idea, to offer those students a place to have their children?
Yes. So in the initial agreement with Aztec, when they built it, it was for those Vista Nueva students, and then we're kind of in a different time in terms of students needing that kind of support, but Dreher does have a couple, so that would be our first priority, is having those Vista Nueva students who become parents have a place right there at their site to have their child, and then students who are San Juan College students who use San Juan College East, and then faculty and staff of Vista Nueva and certainly of San Juan College, and then kind of expanding it out. Did I skip something? Did I skip a group?
Nope. I think
okay. And then students, of course,
Right.
who are just a student either at San Juan College or San Juan College East, and they prefer Aztec, and then kind of finally regionally supportive. So we have a list there of
Right.
of our priorities.
Got you. But right now you've got only 2 or 3, and so you've got room for 7 more, if my
Yeah,
math is
two-
right,
two
on a Monday
infants,
morning.
I think, and 1 little young toddler, and so we have space for 2 more infants,
Okay.
and 5 young toddlers.
Got
to
you.
get to 10.
Got you. Very good. And Fran, talk to me a bit about kind of how that will work with the kids and the staff. Again, they'll be doing a lot of the same types of activities here that we see. I mean, I see kids roaming around campus with their teachers all the time, exploring and learning and really getting involved in what's going on in other parts of the San Juan College campus. Is that similar to what things will be happening in Aztec?
Yes. We're going to use the same curriculum that we'd have at the CFDC, and we'll be following all the licensing regulations and kind of run off NACE regs. We are starting pretty small, so our ratios are very low already. So it's very similar to the ratios we have right now at the CFDC. And then, just working with Dreher and continuing the program, and also reaching out and working with our Early Childhood Mentor Network program. That site will be be able to host practicum hopefully in the spring.
Got you. Understood. And is there hopes that maybe you can expand and accept more children at that center if things go well, or is 10 a good number?
I think there is some room for expansion and maybe increasing those numbers. We did want to start off small, and then we can revisit those numbers after maybe a year or so.
Understood. Got it. And Drew, talk to me a bit about how important it is for maybe students of Vista Nueva to know that they've got care for their kids right in the same building or not too far away from them while they're concentrating on their schooling, because I know Vista Nueva kind of excels at really trying to help kids that may have a more difficult time in a traditional school setting.
Right. It's kind of twofold. So there's always the piece of my children are taken care of. I think what this team sitting in here is trying to achieve is not just that they're taken care of, but that they're given a quality early childhood education, right? I have 2 little ones that are 3 and 7 that both had phenomenal daycare experiences. They got to kindergarten. My 7-year-old got to kindergarten and could already read because of the efforts of their daycare facility. And so that's what I want to see, is not just my child's basic needs are taken care of, but they're learning and they're growing and they're going to be ready for school and success.
Right. Very good. Alexis, let me come back to you a little bit about the topic of kind of daycare and early childhood education, and that topic. We're hearing a lot about it in our state. I think there's a lot of resources being put into this field in our state, which I think is commendable. And a lot of people that are trying to make this funding sustainable year after year so it doesn't come into question during the budget process, but just how important and I guess how transformational might this be for kids in New Mexico by having these resources available to them.
Right. So it was 2017 to 18, I think, that our state created the Early Childhood Education and Care Department. And that's where we've really seen like a big groundswell of support and thought and resources devoted to early childhood, because if we think about any learner all the way up until their adulthood at different stages, the best time to intervene, the best time to support, and the best time to truly put resources in place for them is early childhood, right? And the earlier the better, right?
Right.
So earlier intervention and Head Starts and early Head Starts, those are all so good for littles. And especially if they come from an area where that could be in flux or could have its own conflicts, right? Poverty, things like that. So we're trying to help counter some of that by providing a lot of resources to little ones, and then especially to their parents and their families. So that's something that CFDC does really well. I'm a parent of a young child there as well, and so CFDC puts on supportive programming for parents, like a CPR, infant child CPR class that I could take advantage of if I didn't in my job, but I could go and learn about that as a parent with a little one there. I can take advantage of like Saturday care at times where I can drop my little off for some support, and then I can go with my husband for an hour or two, or just run to the grocery store, things like that. And then I think also, there's lots of different parent programming around STEM and around resources to get littles like really engaged in topics that maybe seem or appear like they don't apply to them. Bridge building is one. Fran, what else do you think?
We have a lot, yes, like you said, a lot of different programs. We're working with different trainers to promote more, we call them parent conversations, but it's kind of like a support group where they can tell us, they can tell us what their home life is like. They can ask any questions they may have and kind of just find that resource with each other and kind of communicate and get to know each other. We also have, like you had mentioned, the New Mexico ECECD program, and that's been really helpful because we get childcare assistance for our families, and right now they just changed the income requirements, so families are able to apply for that assistance, and they are waiving all the copays as well for another fiscal year, which is definitely huge support to our families. And we'll be able to offer that for the families in Aztec as well.
Wonderful. Good to know. And this seems like a really, again, important move for our state, maybe unique from other states. And so for folks that maybe are listening to us from other states or other areas of even the country that may not understand maybe the generational poverty that we face here in New Mexico and just how tough maybe some kids have it if they don't have access to some of these resources early on. It's not saying that if you're in 7th grade we can't help you, but you have a better chance of succeeding in school if we can help you early, even before you get to kindergarten. Isn't that kind of the idea? And that's what we're talking about. And so, very, very good. Alexis, go ahead.
And Scott, something that Kellogg has so generously supported with us is helping to build additional resources for those families. So Fran and I a few times have talked about we'd love to offer something in the evenings to provide care for our young children while their parents take evening classes, if that's their choice. And so it's been a couple years in the making, and we certainly have to hire the staff for it and create the setting that wraps around, if you will. And so part of this Kellogg grant supports the initial wraparound services at our center, where 2 evenings a week in the fall, and we're currently working with our institutional research team to determine what best evenings those are and what times. But we'd like to offer that care through the evening into the like 8-9 p.m. so that parents who otherwise have felt sort of limited in the amount of classes they can take during the day in that 7:30 to 5:30 period of time can then also take an evening class. So that's a second prong of what Kellogg supports. And then the third piece, which is increasingly critical in our area, and certainly for young children, for our teachers, for our staff members, for our teachers of the young children, for myself, for our adjunct faculty, is celebrating and creating opportunities to learn about, engage with, and really understand the complexity and the cultural diversity of the Southwest. And so that's another piece that we've blended in, is the improvement and the additions to classroom libraries that celebrates diversity and celebrates the cultures that you see in our area.
Right. Seems like it's very kind of set up to be very unique and localized to what we need in the area.
Yep.
So that's important. Dre Robertson, let me come back to you about Vista Nueva High School in Aztec and ask you a bit about your students, of course, who are there. And again, being able, as we talk about, childcare and being able to change some of these generational things that are going on, I would imagine for some of your students, that's something of what they're thinking about too, is being able to complete high school and get through it despite all the challenges that maybe your students have faced, in addition to knowing that their kids are being taken care of down the hall.
Right. Absolutely. So I have one student who I asked if I could speak about today, so that's good.
Oh, good.
So she just had her second child. She's a junior in high school. The first one was unexpected. The second one was planned. And so she's building a family, right? And part of that is her significant other is out working, trying to support them. And then she's trying to finish, and her plan is to finish high school and then come here, right? And so we're removing a barrier for her, right? That's the whole idea, is she's going to be able to not only have her kids come to the daycare, but then she's going to be able to have a flexible schedule where she's going to be able to take her dual enrollment or dual credit classes next fall, and should be walking out with 10 to 12 credit hours towards what she wants to do in life. And so, that's the whole idea, is we're trying to get out of the way of student success and lift them up rather than hold them back.
Right. Still a lot of work for her, though.
Yeah.
To make this happen, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, but again, nice to have those choices, I guess, to be able to do that, and maybe not in a traditional Aztec high school setting, but a Vista Nueva setting.
Absolutely. She has the small environment. She's got the teachers that know what she's going through, that can be flexible with what she needs to deal with. If she's got a sick kid and needs to stay home, we communicate, right? That's the whole idea. I think what we're tapping into right now is just the beginning. I think we have the capability to possibly start hosting evening classes for GED and for people in the community. And if we can access that source of funding, we might be able to expand like they're talking about at CFTC and have some evening care. And so I want to help Vista Nueva students. I want to help people that feel like they're stuck. I want to help people that want to take the next step. And, we talked about it being the community center. The Boys and Girls Club next door can run evening programs too for older students. And so we're just set up to remove every barrier possible.
Right. Well, and again, it's a great facility in Aztec to have all those things literally in close proximity to each other and to be able to build off of each other for what is maybe needed by these diverse populations and things that we're talking about in these families in Aztec. Alexis, you wanted to get a word in too.
Sure. So Dre brought up a great topic, and that's how we can host and allow students who live in Aztec and attend San Juan College East in Aztec often or most of the time to also take our early childhood education classes in Aztec.
Right.
Using our site. So there's so much capacity there. Like it could be San Juan College dual credit students taking intro classes or guiding young children or child growth and development, using that site as a practicum site. Or eventually the capstone courses are our 5 credit practicum courses that require 75 hours of watching and learning and doing in a classroom before they finish with us to be an associate level teacher. And so long term, we're thinking, maybe not really long term, but post the pilot. So starting next spring, we would like to be able to offer our early childhood classes either remote or in kind of a high flex option where they could go there and watch and then join in with class with us or have classes out at the center. Because that's Dreyer's sort of other mission, is always to have classes built out in Aztec to support that regional area.
Right. Very good. And so, again, offering maybe some career options for these students as well as what you're talking about. So Very, very exciting. And I can see a lot of kind of gears turning in everyone's heads to think about how we can use some of these new partnerships, even more so down the road. And that seems to be what we're talking about this morning.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Wonderful. Very good. Fran, very exciting for you as well and your teachers at the Child and Family Development Center here on the main campus, and again to have this other site in Aztec beginning in August.
Yes, we're really excited about it. It's been a big topic around the CFDC. We had a lot of public interest, reaching out with other directors and talking with them about what the site's going to be like. So it's been very exciting, and we're looking forward to it.
Very good. Well, again, thank you all for coming in this morning. We're just about out of time. Before we go, if there's anyone who's watching or listening to us that would like more information about the new center or how to sign up or this and that, what's the best way to do that? How should they go about that, Fran?
Right now, we have just been kind of taking some notes when people call, getting information.
Okay.
We don't really have a set system yet, but we'll work on that once we get that director position hired.
Got you. Okay. Can they call, though, in the
Yes,
meantime?
yes,
Can they
they
give
can
you a call?
definitely
What's the
call.
right number to use that?
566-3383.
Okay. Putting you on the spot. 566-3383.
Yeah,
Alexis.
they could always email either of the three of us here, or just call it to the college and say, hey, I need some help with education or early childhood education. And we get those calls all the time.
Right?
So
I bet you do.
Happy to help them and just kind of steer them in the right direction, whichever site they're interested in and what their personal goal is, we can help them.
Very good. Wonderful. Well, again, all three of you, thank you for coming in this morning. Great to visit with you in this exciting project, and thanks for sharing it with us this morning.
Yeah, thanks
Absolutely.
for having us.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank
bet.
you.
You're very welcome. My guest this morning with me here on KSJE. KSJE is proud to support Riverfest, Memorial Day weekend, May 27th, 28th, and 29th on the banks of the Animas River in Farmington. Enjoy all-day music, food, beer gardens, vendors, crafts and raft rides, the recycled art show, and the plein air painters. Riverfest, a jolt-worthy event, proudly hosted by the River Reach Foundation, sponsored in part by the City of Farmington and the Farmington Convention and Visitors Bureau. Find out more at riverfestnewmexico.com. KSJE is supported by the Farmington Civic Center, bringing a full slate of entertainment to Farmington and San Juan County. The interactive art of Artrageous, Saturday, May 21st at 7:30 p.m. The Farmington Civic Center, 200 West Arrington in downtown Farmington. Find out more online at fmtn.org/shows or 505-599-1148. KSJE and San Juan College present the Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week. Week 16, Finals, Finals, Finals. Don't let the finals week become a nightmare of stress and anxiety. Get prepared and conquer your finals with these final steps. Start early. Create a study schedule and stick to it. Prioritize your study time. Some exams may be harder than others. Attend the review session. Ask questions about the exam and study for the style of exam. Create a study guide and make flashcards. Take breaks and stay well rested. Quiz yourself, or better, have someone else quiz you. Show up early for the test. Visit the tutoring center for additional support. The Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week, presented by KSJE and the Student Achievement Center at San Juan College.